Welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you? I'm so excited for this episode. Honestly, I'm having a not good day and I don't want to get into it. Our little Tootsie, May dog, she's a hot girl and she's having tummy issues. And the last 3 nights I've slept on the couch so I can take her to go potty every 2 hours. That's that. Last night I was up from like 2 to 5. I could not go back to bed and I had her vet appointment in the morning. So anyways, we went to the vet this morning. We got the medicine. Sorry, she's in the room with me. So I know that if she has to go potty, but it's already getting better because we're on the ups, right? Okay. So Carter episode. I don't know if I have that many updates other than Maydog's been suffering for the last, not suffering, her energy's good. Everything else is good. She does this. She's a Frenchie. She's got the tummy issues. I've been through this with her, but not for this long. And dogs always, they throw up, they have diarrhea, like the thing happens. It's common for dogs. They pick something off the side of the road, whatever. But this is just like, and then Carter is so stressed. So I've been dealing with it. And oh my gosh, we got back from the vet today. So I didn't see Carter before I left because he was still sleeping. We get back, he gives me a smooch. He's like, okay, I'm going to go shower and then I'm doing this. And he had like so many things to do. And like, of course, in my heart, I just wanted to sit down and like talk to him. I started crying. He said he had to go shower, crying. Why? I don't know. Oh, I'm also on my period. So like, we're having a tough go this week, but I'm hoping that this episode rejuvenates me. I hope I didn't just bitch. I did. Okay, but I'm so sorry that I needed to get that off my chest. So if I feel or seem low energy, or if my words are twisted around, I just had a call like an hour ago before I dropped Carter off at school. I had like a couple questions, like 3, and I just poof, gone. That never happens to me. I just am running on so little sleep. Did I say that I was up from 2 to 5? I think I mentioned that. So I'm struggling, but I'm so excited to talk about Carter. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to get ahead of myself. I have a Celsius. I'm like, okay, let's get this energy rolling, bitches. So book update. And then we're just going to jump into it. Other than Maydog, there's not that much else to update you on. Okay. Perfect. You guys, 2 Frida books. First, I read The Teacher Loved. Then I read Never Lie, Love. I made a TikTok video on all the books I've read thus far. And I got a comment like, so you love everyone? Because that's what I said. Yeah, genuinely, I do. I really like all the books I've been reading. I'm not a book critic. Okay. And honestly, you guys, you had me join Goodreads. I haven't been on it. I'm so sorry. It's just another app that I just don't have the mental capacity for. But when I was using it for like the one day, when I was inserting books and putting like 5 stars, because that's all I'm going to do, the reviews on there are crazy, like so harsh. I'm like, y'all need to chill out. Okay. Really chill out. And then you guys, last night I started If He Had Been With Me. And this is probably the most responses I've ever gotten on an Instagram story. A lot of people, 80% I would say, are like, get your tears or get your tissues ready. You're going to be crying. And then there's been a handful of you guys that are like, I hated that book. That's the only book I've given 1 star. I'm like, damn. So now I'm kind of scared, but I'm liking it so far. I got through like 50 pages. Again, I really wish when I was up in the middle of the night that I would have had the book, but it was in here with Carter. But anyway, so that's the book I'm on. Let's just jump into Carter. Okay, you guys, I decided I'm not going to relive my TikTok videos. If you want to go to my TikTok page at the top, it's called a series or a playlist or whatever it is. It says Carter Love Story. I documented when me and Carter started dating, like before the dates, after the dates, and it's all there. So if you want to go watch, I highly recommend you do because it's so fun. Maybe it's just fun for me, but I think you guys enjoy it too. I have gotten comments. And I was thinking about going through them, but like, it's just going to take too much time. So I'm just going to like regurgitate. I'm just going to talk about our first few dates and little things here and there that I probably didn't mention in TikTok. And then I'm going to go through your guys' questions because there were so many and there are so many good questions. But to anybody who's new here, or even if you're not, you're going to relive this with me. So I'm sorry if you're so annoyed. Maybe just skip this episode. But me and Carter, I looked too through my best friend and I's text messages. We matched on April 5th. Okay. Oh my God, it's April 10th. We matched over a year ago. So our first date wasn't until the 15th. I was like really slow to reply. He messaged first on the 5th. Okay. And then I got back on the 7th, Friday, and then I didn't answer all weekend. Anyways, doesn't matter. Okay. We met on Hinge. I got that question because some of you don't know. And we set up a pickleball date is our first date. Okay. Because one of my prompts was this year, I really want to play more pickleball. And he said, oh my gosh, I'm trying to play more too. Sounds like a great first date idea. And I said, perfect. So Cutie Carter said, when are you free this weekend? He said, Saturday, 10 a.m. I said, perfect. So me and Cutie Carter met at this park. I almost just said the park. I guess it doesn't matter. Williams Park in University Park. Pickleball courts. Here's the thing. So Carter is like me. He's always early. So I remember I was on my way there and he had confirmed that morning and he was like, I'm here. I'm by so-and-so, I don't know, whatever. And I thought he was going to be on the opposite side where most people park. But as I'm pulling up in my 2002 Tahoe, right? She's a little bit dirty. She's a little bit old, but we love her. And honestly, who would judge me for a car? But some people in Dallas, the fucking rich people of Dallas would. I'm like, he's getting it all, right? But as I'm pulling up to park, he's literally right there. Like his car is right next. So I'm like waving in my Tahoe as I'm pulling into the spot. I get out, I give him a hug, right? I say, hi, nice to meet you. And these courts, you guys, you have to reserve a time. But there were some open, but people there get a little bit sticklery. What's the word I'm looking for? Again, brain's not working, but they are a little bit psycho there. So I was like, well, the reservation is until 10:30. And like, I don't know if we want to just jump in. Like, I don't know you. And Carter was like, let's walk around the park because there's like a little trail in this little park and just like chit chat and then we can go play. So me and Carter are just like booking it because I don't walk so and Carter doesn't either. Not actually, but like I remember we made it around this thing like 100 times. And we talked about where he's from, where I'm from, siblings, school, the whole nine. And first impression, okay, I think I got this question. Hot. I'm telling you guys, I typically don't go for hot guys because they're usually either boring or conceited. And I was a little worried. I was like, oh gosh. But I was like, let's give it a try, right? He's hot. He's 6'2". He's got big muscles. He's just tall, dark, and handsome, right? And Carter also is a lot more serious, okay, than anybody I've ever dated. Like, he is very composed. He's very, very, very intelligent. I remember him using a few words that I didn't know on the first day. And I said, holy shit, like I thought I was smart, but I'm pretending as if I know what he's saying when he's using these big words. But I was like, that's hot. Okay, so we walk around the little thing. We chat. I'm like, okay, vibes are there. And then eventually we're like, let's go play. And it's April, so it's already like 70 or 80 degrees. If you guys recap on my TikTok, I wore my little Nike skirt. It wasn't the summer uniform because I didn't want boobs. I wore like a high neck tank. Okay, you can go watch. And I wore a jacket. So when we were walking around the trail, I had the jacket on. But then when we played, I took the jacket off. Okay, and we didn't really play. Like, we hit it back and forth. We kind of did, whatever. And fun fact, you guys, there were some people next to us. And I remember saying something to the girl. She had the same pickleball paddle as me or the same brand. I was like, I love the paddle. And she said, whatever. I don't even remember. It was like a quick interaction. Like, my ball had gone over there. So I just like made a comment. This girl messaged me like a month or two later after me and Carter had been like dating, and she was like, hey, just so you know, like I was the girl with the paddle and I saw your TikTok video because I made a video before the date, right? She's like, I saw it before they had gone to the pickleball courts. And she's like, no chance. I thought like Dallas, the same courts. Like she had seen my video. So she knew that me and Carter on this first date, I just cannot even imagine. But she's like, we've been cheering for you guys ever since. Like we call you like the pickleball lovers or something. I'm dead. I can only imagine what it was like. Like it's kind of embarrassing now because we're like making small talk, but we're talking or we're hitting the ball back and forth. Oh my gosh. But anyway, so little fun fact, and we were having fun. We're joking around, we're hitting. And then at the end, we were only there for maybe an hour and a half. I don't even think we made it to an hour and a half. We got done. We're drinking water. We sit down on this bench really quick and he had to go study. He was starting finals because it was this time last year. So he was like, I got to go study. And I was going with the nanny fam to go watch nanny boys baseball games. So we were there, cute, quick, whatever. We gave a hug at the end. We're both sweaty. I was like, okay, good. Left the date. I'm like, that was good. That was great. Like we vibed, definitely potential. He's hot, whatever. If he doesn't message me, I'm going to be okay. Would love to go on another date. But like first dates are all about the vibe, I feel. And then, okay, sorry, I'm just like skedaddling through this. He messaged me after, okay, I have these texts I sent to my best friend. Thanks again for coming out and playing with me. This was probably like an hour or two after, I think. Yeah, roughly. Thanks again for coming out and playing with me. I had so much fun. If you're up for it and have a free night this week, I'd love to take you out for dinner. Oh my gosh. I remember, so I got this text when I was in the car with Nanny Mom and we were driving, and I had told her about the date. I met them at cheerleading. Sorry, I'm really jumping around. So I met them first at cheerleading. We watched Nanny Girl do her tumbling practice, and I told her about the date. I showed her the Hinge profile. I was like, it was good. And then on the way there, he texted us. I said, oh my gosh, he loves me. And of course, I was like, I had so much fun. I don't have my own text messages, but I was like, I would love to go to dinner. So he said, how does Tuesday night work for you? 6:30 at Rise, ? Time, date, everything. I said, I love him. I love him. Like, this is what we need. A man who wants to date, a man who has a plan, right? So I said, okay, 6:30. Wait, I'm looking at myself in the mirror really quick, or in the video. Is my face washed out? You guys, again, it doesn't matter. So, okay, I'm like, wait, does 7:30 work? Because I had an appointment with Nanny Boy for something, and he said, perfect. So Tuesday night, we went on our first date on a Saturday. So this was the following Tuesday at Rise, which is in Inwood Village. If you're a Dallas person, it's souffle. And he double checked with me after. He's like, wait, do you like souffle? And I'm like, I've never had it, but I'm down to try. So Tuesday night, I work, I do the whole thing, and I get home, I get ready. You guys, I obviously updated you on TikTok, and I drive over, and it's like, we decided on 7:30, but he texted me at like 7:05. He's like, I'm here. I just want to make sure we get a table. Love, love, love. And again, I drive up, and I had to drive past the restaurant to get a parking spot. It was like so jam-packed, and he was sitting right here on the bench, and he saw me. So I'm like, oh, and I always feel like nervous, not for the date, but when I look good. You guys, this might not even be relatable at all. When I know that I look good, or like I have makeup on, I'm all done up, like it makes me nervous because I've always been a tomboy. It's just something about me. Like, I don't know what that is, but I was parking at the end, and I knew I was going to have to walk all the way up the sidewalk to him on the bench. Okay. And I was like, so I go and park. I'm in my little skirt, my little long sleeve. Okay. And he was like, you look amazing, or like, you look gorgeous. He stands up, gives me a hug. He put in our name. So we sat on the bench a little bit, and he was wearing his cute little SMU polo, and he looked so handsome. Oh my gosh. It's so fun to think about. Like, that was the second time I saw him, and now we like live together. It's just crazy. Anyways. Okay. Sorry. So our names get called. We go in. It's like super dim, super intimate, very small place. And we sit at this little table, little candle in front of us. And he helps me order, because again, I hadn't had souffle. And we just start chatting. Like, we just go on and on and on and on about this, that, and the other. And we actually had wine, you guys. And we got in an argument about this later, because when we decided on Rise, he was like, they also have a good wine menu. And I was like, perfect. So then he was the one who said that in a text. Okay. So I clocked that up here. I said, okay, he digs wine, or like he's, whatever. I was like, I'll order wine. Okay. So we get there, we get a glass of wine, we get dinner. We ended up having 2 glasses. I definitely didn't finish mine. I don't know if he did, but he made a joke like weeks later, like, yeah, well, you wanted to have wine. I was like, the only reason I had wine is because you mentioned the wine menu. So I thought that you wanted it, which is that a good reason to like drink? No, but we were both like, it's part of the dating thing. It was fun. It was good. I definitely like loosened up, which I'm always pretty loose. I remember he made a comment while we were at dinner. He was like, he said something like, you're a little bit more fiery, when you get a little drink in you. I said, okay, excuse me. I just like, drink or not, I get more comfortable and I get more fiery. Okay. It's not the alcohol. Don't ever attribute that to the wine. But anyways, we get done, and he's like, do you want to do a dessert souffle? Because I think that's what souffles are known for. And I look around, the place is like empty. It's a little bit after 9, and apparently they closed at 9. Okay. So there are still a few people like lingering around, but you can tell they're closing up and we had no idea. Like we were just so in it. So he was like, never mind, let's just go. There's a Van Leeuwen's close by, or there's ice cream. It's a Van Leeuwen's. Lewins? I don't know. Close by, let's just walk over there. I'm like, perfect. So we finish, he pays, obviously. We walk over to the ice cream shop. We both go to the bathroom. We order, and then we go outside and sit on a bench. And we sit there and just keep like chatting away. Okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so easy. It's good. I'm like surprised because he's hot, but he's also like so normal and so smart and so great, you know? And at one point he told me that he was liking how this was going. Like he's so straightforward and he's so himself. We'll get into that later. But anyways, finally it's like after 11 and we're both like, holy shit. He wasn't going home to study, but he had a busy week. So he apologized the next day. We left. I got a hug. Okay. And I was like, okay, yeah, like fine. It was awkward. You know, the vibes to like smooch have to be right. And it was only our second date. So he gave me a hug. He walked me over to my car, gave me a hug. And, you know, like the lingering and joking. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that part. Anyways, so I drive home. I obviously make a TikTok. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, like this is the most potential and like the most wonderful man I've like ever met. Like the best sort of partner I could see for myself. You know how you have like an idea of a man out there that you want for yourself, but you're like, does that even exist? That is Carter and more. Okay. But yeah, so I go home, I film the TikToks. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. He doesn't text me that night. He texts me the next morning or in midday. And he was like, hey, so sorry for keeping you up last night. Like time flies when you're having fun. Like I had a great time. And we did a little bit of chit chat and then he asked me, so this was Wednesday. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay. My best friend just called me and I needed a little therapy session after my day today. And I just remembered that it is me and Carter's 1 year today. I didn't even intro this video saying that. So beep, intermission. Me and Carter went on our first date a year ago today. So April 15th was the pickleball date a year ago. Okay. That's what we're claiming as our anniversary because we never did like the whole, will you be my girlfriend? Because it was just known after date 3, which I'm about to talk about, that we were like in this thing for forever. Okay. So end scene. We did the ice cream, back into it. So we small talk really quick. And then he said, I would love to take you to a picnic on Saturday. Does that work? 11 a.m., something along those lines. I said, I cried, you guys. I was on a walk, very on brand, and I sobbed. Okay. Wait, is this microphone on? Yes. Okay. I was crying, not sobbed, but tears. I was like, oh my gosh, because I had already been like, holy shit. This is like feeling like, oh my God, are my doors open? Hold please. Okay, you guys, if I've ever been a hot mess, it's today. So Cutie Carter says, let's go to a picnic on Saturday. And I said, what can I bring? And he said, just your beautiful self. Literally verbatim, I believe. Don't quote me, but quote me. That's all he said. I'm like, ah! I said, okay, I'll bring a picnic blanket. I went and bought one. I didn't own one. This is the day that I finally was like, okay, I'm going to audio message you. This is how I communicate with my people. I apologize. I'm just too lazy to text. So this is when our audio message game started. This was like after our second date and he was new. I remember his very first audio message. He was like, okay, number 1, like answering all the things I had said. He's like, I'm new to this. It was a precious. I died. Okay. So Saturday comes around. Carter picks me up at 11 a.m., I believe. And we go to the Dallas Arboretum and he has coconut waters, like those big coconut waters, pineapple, watermelon, meat, cheese, sandwiches, drinks, water, like anything and everything you could ever want. And we went and found this spot and me and Carter sat at this picnic for 5 hours. We were there until 4 and I brought the cards. So I said in an audio message before the picnic, I said, I have these cards. They're primarily for couples, but I just thought it'd be good for like conversation. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be too much or whatever. He was like, oh my God, bring them. That's perfect. So I brought my Let's Get Deep cards. Okay. There's icebreakers, there's deep, and then there's deeper. And we sat at this picnic and just went through cards and talked and we're laying there. It was like picturesque. I wish I would have taken a photo. This was like the game changer. And I know it's date 3. It's crazy, but we were answering these questions. And I've talked about this all the time, how like, not only did we see eye to eye on most things, but when we didn't, like Carter is so like quick to understand or just like point out his side, or like we can come to terms, which I don't even think anything we really hard disagreed on, because it was a lot of just like random about you things and like, what do you think about love and marriage and kids and yada yada. Oh, and this is the date where I told Carter about my TikTok. So date 1 and 2, I didn't bring it up. I said I'm a nanny, which I was not lying, but at the date some question got pulled up and he was like, yeah, well, the girls at law school were asking to see. So he's like, I didn't look, because he told me, he's like, I don't have social media, so I didn't think it was fair to creep on your social media because you couldn't find me and look at mine. So he's like, I wanted to respect your privacy. And I'm like, what a freaking like, I just love him. I'm like, that's so nice and thoughtful. And he's like, but I told the girls at law school, like they wanted to see you, so they looked you up. And I'm like, wait, where did they look me up? And he's like, on Instagram. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Well, just so you know, on TikTok, at this time, I had 160,000 followers. So I was like, I'm on TikTok and I have 160,000 followers. And he was like, oh, he's like, okay, tell me more about that. And like, I don't really remember that conversation because it was so long ago, but I was like, I just give like dating advice and breakups and yada yada, and that's it. And it's just something I do, and yeah, you know, that's just that. And he was like, okay. He was like, honestly, I've been a TikTok hater, as he uses YouTube shorts, which are TikToks just put on YouTube, but we've had that conversation later. But anywho, so that was that. We had great conversation, all of the things, learned so much about him. And I got this question, but I'll answer it now. One of my favorite things, I don't think I can pick an absolute favorite, but one of my favorite things about Carter is this man is so who he is. Like, Carter is him 100%. There's nothing that's going to move him, going to shake him. Like, he knows his opinions. He knows who he is. He's confident. He's secure. Like, I have never dated a guy like that ever. Previous boyfriends, I feel like, always molded themselves to me, like, which in hindsight or at the time was amazing, because I'm like, oh, they just do whatever I say, you know, I do this, they're okay with that, whatever. But at the end of the day, when you want a partner, when you want a father to your children, when you want a husband, like, I want a strong man who is secure and confident and knows who he is and what he believes in. And that is Carter. And that is one of my favorite things about him. And I say that because when we were going through cards, like, he was just so blunt and so honest. And like, there were some like, what would your friends say about you? Or like, how would your friends describe you? And like, even if it wasn't the perfect thing to say about himself, he would say it. And I loved that. I could just tell he was like being so honest. And Carter today is the exact same person that he was when I met him. Like, there was no like turning it on. There was no like, you know, doing the show because you're new in a relationship. No, he is who he is. And that's why I think this relationship has been able to be as smooth as it has, because he's been him from day one. And same for me, I think. You know, maybe I was a little bit more putting on the juice. But anyways, so our picnic, life changing. I got home. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And okay, I'm kind of answering questions as I'm going through this. A lot of people asked, this was like probably the second or third most asked question, is how did you know Carter was the one? I have a few thoughts on that. It is so easy for couples to say, when you know, you know. I feel like I could say that. When you know, because there is a feeling, but it comes from your experiences. Like I just said, Carter being so who he is, us having the same values, the same like life goals. It just really, we clicked in a way. And I also think it just takes two people being ready. Like, we've dated, we've had serious relationships. We both want a family. We both want to get married. At the time, honestly, I wasn't sure if I wanted kids, but with Carter, yes. He's such a strong human being. I love everything about him. And so it just made sense. And Carter doesn't like when I say this, but I don't necessarily believe in the one. Again, it would be so easy. Like, Carter is my soulmate. He says that, like, not regularly, but one time I asked him, I'm like, do you believe in soulmates? And at the same time, we were answering this question and he said yes. And I said no. And I'm like, I just think you choose a partner. Like, I think that really is what it is. And I knew that I would be making a wonderful choice with Carter, just like his beliefs, his morals, who he is. That's that. So like, I could sit here and say on the third date, I knew he was the one, which sounds crazy, and it is. And I don't think that's fair to say. But after that third date, I had a very strong sense that like, this is it. I was scared. I remember going home, I FaceTimed all my friends. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. That was like the best date. And just like, I've never aligned with somebody and had these like deep conversations. We talked about finances. We talked about like kids. We talked about like so many also like politics and deep issues like abortion. Like there were so many conversations that we had, and just regardless of the answers, the fact that we had those conversations, because there were people I dated in the past that we didn't even have these conversations, you know? And on the third date, it was just so nice. And he was so honest and also is equally ready to like have those conversations. Whereas I feel like a lot of men who aren't ready, like would shy away from that stuff. And he was like so ready to just like talk about the deep stuff. And I loved that. So when did I know? It obviously became more clear, but that third date was like really eye-opening, even though this man drops me off, no smooch. Okay. Which also, when we were at the picnic, I'm like, this would be so cliche if he like leaned over and kissed me. But a few times on the date, like I remember one of the questions was like, what do you admire about me? And he was like, well, number one, like I admire your beauty. Like you are beautiful. He said that a couple times, which was like so bad. And then he actually went on and said, but oh my gosh. I mean, kissing then wouldn't have felt organic. Like it was the third date. We don't even know each other. But he drops me off. He gives me a hug. He was talking then about my birthday because my birthday was coming up. It's on May 9th. And he was like, let's go to a concert. Did he know Ed Sheeran at the time? I don't know. But he was like, okay, I'm planning something for your birthday, or like, I'm thinking about it. So just like make sure that your schedule's clean. Because it was like in a week or two, maybe a week. But anyway, so he drops me off, gives me a hug. I don't know if we made plans then, but we're on the audio message grind. Okay. And so then I don't remember what day he asked me to the fourth date, which was dinner. And I go to Nanny Fam's because I was working at the time. I said, we need to have sex. Okay. Do you hear me? Like I need to rip this man's clothes off. So sorry if you love and know me and you're listening to this. Hello. I was like feeling such strong feelings. At the very bare minimum, we need to smooch. Duh. And it's funny because now, like shortly after, a few months after we started dating, Carter would always turn to me and he's like, can you believe there was a time we didn't smooch? I'm like, that is crazy to think about. We were being like, so whatever. And he made a joke one time about being medieval knight respectful. He was like, I just respected you so much. And he's like, I didn't want to cross a boundary and I didn't want to come on. Like I wanted to like have sex or kiss or be intimate. Like I just didn't want to pressure you or do anything. So I was just like, I'd rather be respectful. I don't know why I just did this. Respectful. And just wait. And this man also told me that he in his head, okay, we went to Ed Sheeran on like the 5th. This is the date in his head that he thought we would smooch by. That would have been like 3 weeks. Okay. Which again, love the sentiment, but hello, we're humans. I'm attracted to you. No. So I go to Nanny Fam's house and I'm like, you guys, like I need to make this happen. How do I make this happen? Okay, because I don't think he's going to pull the moves, you know, like he's being so respectful and so nice and so gentlemanlike. And Nanny Dad was like, I love that. And I was like, me too. But I also, Nanny Mom's like, no, we need to get it on. I'm like, thank you. Okay, so we came up with the plan. Carter asked me to dinner so we did a picnic on Saturday. Our next date wasn't until Thursday because he had finals. So the plan was to go to a restaurant by my apartment. He's like, I'll pick you up and we'll go to dinner. So I was like, perfect. Okay. And I told Nanny Mom, I said, okay, I'm going to invite him up to my apartment when we get back. And I have to, like this I can't wait. Cause then I don't know what I'm going to do. So we go to dinner. It was great. Oh my gosh, our 4th date. So we hadn't smooched yet. So of course we get back and I'm like, do you want to come up? Like we can go down to the pool like area where it overlooks the city. We can just like hang out. You can meet Maydog. This was the first time that Carter met me. Little did she know he was going to become her dad. And so he was like, yeah, of course. Like he still had some finals, but it was already the nighttime. So he came up and we get into my apartment, which was a studio. I had these huge beanbag chairs that May would lay on. And he sits down and he pulls May in his lap and they're hanging out and cuddling. And eventually I scooched myself on over into his arm. And that bitch, I said, May, shoo. And I'm sitting on his chest and he's right here. And I had said in an audio message, I made a joke about how respectful he was being. I was like, yeah, nanny dad was like saying how, you know, he loved how you're being respectful, but I think you're being a little too respectful. I said that in a message because I wanted to get I wanted him to know I'm free. I'm able. I'm willing. I'm excited. Let's do this. And Cutie Carter sent me an audio message back. I cannot repeat what he said on there, but the vibes, you could tell that he was wanting to, but he was like trying to be nice. So he said, oh my God, I forgot about these audio messages. I have them saved. I remember he answered me back and he said, I was thinking about that too. Like maybe I'm being a little too respectful. And he's like, but I'm not pulling him. He's like, you're going to have to pull the moves, Miss Berg. Like I'm not going to be denied by you or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to make the first move. No. So when I finally lured him into my apartment and we're laying there, I looked up at him and we had been talking and I was like, you're really going to make me kiss you first? Like, I'm going to have to pull the first move. And he's kind of like looking down at me. Like I could tell he was nervous and I was also nervous, but I wanted it to happen. And finally we smooch. Oh my gosh, why am I sharing this? I think I already made a video on this once. And then, you know, things just happened. Okay. And I said, worked like a charm. Okay. So, you know, poor Maydog, whatever. We have a night. Carter sleeps over. And then I had to go to Nanny Fam's house at like 5 a.m, which was actually, or 6. I would go at 6:30, but I would get up really early. So he was like, no, that's perfect. When you leave, I can go because I have to study. So I dropped him off at his car and I'll never forget. I walked into Nanny Fam's house because it was like, so that was Friday morning, right? Because we went on the date on Thursday and Nanny Mom and Nanny Girl were in her bedroom, like doing her hair or something. And I come in, I was like, wow. And then we're all dance partying and Nanny Girl, she's like 11. She was like looking because she knew what was happening or what we were talking about. She didn't want to say it, but so then Nanny Dad comes out. I give them the lowdown. I'm like, yes, because like you got to see what's happening. Obviously, sorry to anybody who could personally know me. Just don't judge. It doesn't matter. We've all been there. Hello, we all have sex. So I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, things are good. This is going to be the perfect relationship. So that was day 4. And then as I dropped him off at his car, I remember that we were joking about something. And I said like, oh, so I'll see you tonight. And I knew that he had to study. I was saying it 100% as a joke. And he was like, I can make that work. And I was like, no. Like you can study. I can see you after your next final or whatever. And he was like, no, well, I'll let you know how it's going. So then that very next night we had Thai food and then we went back to his apartment. And then I slept over. May came with. Okay. And then the next morning we got snooze breakfast and we just, that was so blissful. And I think he was almost done with his finals. He was getting ready to move into this apartment and we just know it all rolled. Okay. That's that. Oh my gosh. I love that. That was like the most magical moments of my life. Oh, Presh. Okay. Should we get into the questions? After that, like, I don't really have that much else to say. That was the start. Eventually I moved in and we'll talk about because I got questions. And also, can we address something really quick? All of the comments and the questions about revealing Carter's name or face. And I get it, you guys. I would be just like you. I'd be so curious. And I totally understand. Also, I was reflecting and thinking about, because I got a really mean comment, which I don't care, but let me read this to you. This girl said, I posted on my Instagram like a collage of all of you people asking like face and name because it was hilarious. Like everybody was asking. So I wanted to like make a joke like you guys are crazy, like in the best way. So a girl commented, "What do you mean respect his privacy? You created this havoc by keeping him a secret. No one would be doing this if it wasn't for you. I love your content and have watched since before Carter was even close to in the picture." Wait, what? I don't know what that means. "But I just think this is stupid to make your fans feel dumb when you're the one that initiated the craziness." I get it. Okay, kind of. That was a little crazy, but in the beginning, when we started dating, I was posting like I genuinely thought I would post him because in my head, every relationship prior I had posted. But the difference between that and this is, number one, I didn't have a social media following before. And even though my Instagram is rather small and I love you guys and my Instagram girls are like my girls, like you guys get me. I know you guys. I love you guys. Like we're so much more connected than TikTok, obviously. At any moment, my TikTok can pop off and those people could come to Instagram and like, it is just no longer like my social media isn't how most people operate social media. It is now a business. It is now like part of my online persona. It's not just me posting for my friends and family. And I was still in that headspace. And obviously I was sharing with you. So I was really excited to show you, but it took me a second to step back. Number one, like Carter has no socials. So that's one thing that's also different. Like most people, you know, you have a boyfriend who has a social media, who posts photos. Carter is not on the online web, right? And number two, he's going into law. Like he is having a very serious career. Number three, there's just a lot of things. Number three, or like the biggest point is that there are as many of you wonderful people who just want to see him, to feel closer and to know him and to like all of the wonderful reasons like you guys want to know. There are so many mean and hurtful and hateful people. Like we see it. Have you ever seen on TikTok somebody like blowing up and leaving reviews on somebody's page and because they didn't like something that they said? Like, I need to protect Carter and his profession and who he is at all costs because people on the internet like are crazy, you know? So as much as I would love to show you guys, it is so much bigger than myself. And yes, would I get so much engagement and would my post pop off with Carter? Yeah, but like that's not my goal. Like I share as much with you as I can because I love that. And I know it would be great and probably help to put a name to the face and put a name to the name, but I do have to respect him. And like, we have had these conversations and he just like, I think about influencers that I see on my TikTok. Emily Kaiser, for one, like I don't even follow her, but I just see her all the time because she's huge. I know exactly what her husband looks like. Like if I saw that man on the street, I would know. I don't want that for Carter. And I'm not saying I'm as big as Emily. And I'm not even like, I'm not trying to say I'm this huge person, but it could get there. And once I put that out there, like Carter's no longer private and I owe him everything. And I was never a lifestyle creator. Like I've made breakup and relationship TikToks before Carter. Like that was my niche. And then I was sharing the dating series because it was relevant and I loved sharing. And I guess that's where the line got crossed. But then I don't want to be a mommy blogger. I don't want to post every intimate moment of my life. And I don't. Like I share stories, but I'm not filming everything that I'm doing. And I never want to be that person. And I think there's a line that I have to draw. And I think no creator doesn't share their significant other. Honestly, Alex Cooper, which again, she's huge. She didn't for a long time. And not like her husband is in that same space, but like Carter isn't at all. And it's a privacy thing. And it stinks because I totally get it. And I apologize that I teased in the beginning, but again, I'm a human being and I was learning at the same time. And I was realizing the gravity of putting things on the internet. And once it's out there, like that's it. And I don't want to put Carter in a hard spot ever. If it's whatever it may be, I want him to keep his normal life just as much as I like mine. Like it really just comes down to all of those things. There's so many points I could make, but I think you guys will understand. And if you are only here because you want to see Carter and that's what you're waiting on, you should probably go. Like I'm really sorry. And I'm sorry if I got your hopes up, but it's just like for the greater good and for my life. And like similar to how I would never show my kids, like me and Carter have very real lives. Like you guys see me on a screen, which is very real, and you guys know me, but we also are established here in Dallas, and we're going to have events and things. And I want him to have his own life and something that's not tied to my social media. Even though I do share, it is very different when his name and his face are out there. And I just ask you guys to respect his privacy. There have been many people that have tried to out him and do this, and I don't know for what, like if they just want to be able to say ha ha, but it's a lot bigger than even just us. Like if a video goes viral for the wrong reasons, which I can't imagine it would, but even when I made fun of gamers and all the men attacked me, like I don't want that ever to rub off on Carter. So as much as I can protect him, I'm going to. And that's just that. So I do really apologize. But yeah, so that's that. But let's get into the questions. I just wanted to address that. And I think you'll understand like the predicament that I'm in. It's very different when you're like a public social person. Like 600,000 people on TikTok at any moment could go over there, and like I just need to have boundaries, and that's just that. And I think you guys will totally get it. And I think a lot of you do, but of course you're curious, you're human beings. I get it. And I love you guys. And thank you for being here. And if you don't want to be here because all you cared about is Carter, then you can go. That's okay. That is okay. Okay, let's jump into the questions. Number 1, when was I love you said? Okay, such a great question. Oh, let's talk about moving in as well. I'm going to jump around. I just put them in the order that I saw them. Number 1, when was I love you said? Probably 2 months into dating. We were sitting right here in this very bed after, had I moved in yet? Yeah, probably. But we were doing the cards because we periodically like to pull them out and just have a cutesy little night and answer the questions. And we hadn't said it yet, but I had been feeling it. And Carter was gone for his work trip. And like, you know, when you hang up the phone, it's like, I love you, bye. Like that's just such a normal thing to say to your friends, your family. And not that that's a good reason to say I love you, but like we had already both had such strong feelings. So he had just gotten back from this trip and we were doing the questions, and one came up and it was like, when did I know I liked you? Or when did you know you liked me? And when did you know you loved me? And I was like, oh, like we can't answer this. And then I kept moving, but I made it noticeable. So hopefully he would catch on. I know, is that so immature of me? Probably, but I was nervous. I don't know. Anyways, so he was like, what was it? So he grabbed it and he kept going through. He's like, this one, this one, this one. And he told me later he knew that it had to do with I love you. Like he was playing dumb as well. So I got up, I did something, and I came back and he was like, I think it's this one. And he's like, when did I know I liked you? He was like, after the first date. Like we had a really good time. The second date really sealed the deal, yada, yada, whatever. I don't remember his exact answer, but then he was like, when did I know I loved you? Like he was reading the card and he was like, probably when I was on my trip and just being away from you, I just realized what a positive light you are in my life and how happy I am with you and how much of a better person I am. And I was like, are we just going to act like you've just rolled past that without actually saying I love you? And he was like, you are so dumb. He was like, this was the card. And then I answered the question. So that was like our first I love you. We didn't like outright say it. I don't remember what my answer was, but that's how we said I love you. So it was early. But again, you guys know we moved fast. However, let me get into that question. How long before you guys talked about moving in together and then actually did move in? When did you know it was time for you guys to move in together? How did that conversation come up? So some of you haven't been here and some of you have. Carter's lease ended like right around my birthday. And so we went on our first date April 15th, right? My birthday's May 9th. I think his lease ended May 7th or something. So I helped him move from that apartment to this one. My lease was also coming up at the end of May, and I didn't know where I was going to live because I thought I was moving to Nashville, which that's a whole other topic. But then out of nowhere, the same week that I went on the first date with Carter, I had toured this little Airbnb house and I signed a 3-month lease. So I signed this little lease. So at the end of May, I was moving. So I moved into this little dinky whatever, even though I was staying here quite a bit, I feel. Maybe not at that point, but obviously that led conversations like, my lease is going to be up in August, and we were talking about that being the date, which was crazy. That was still only 3 months after we started dating. So I was like, oh, oh my God. But it was just like an ongoing, like every day. But I'm telling you, again, I sound so dumb and woo woo and whatever. On that third date, we talked about like everything under the sun, and moving in together was probably brought up just like in a question form. Like, what are your thoughts on living together before marriage or yada, yada. So Carter, I don't know when it started. Obviously it started very early on. Like I had a bed over here. I'd brought clothes over here. Like, you know how it goes. And we knew early on that we were like very, very serious about one another. I met his mom. Like there were all of these things that I think we knew that we were very serious and that we thought we were it for each other. So Carter was always very vocal about us moving in together. Just like the conversation, like kind of I'm ready when you are. And I was having reservations because I'm like very hyper independent. I've never lived with a partner before. I felt like giving up my space. I was like, oh, that's so scary to me because I've never not had my own space. Like, what if something happens? Yada, yada, all of the natural things. And I would voice that to him. Like, I would voice all of my concerns and like how it had nothing to do with him, just like my own inner monologue and like what I was feeling. And he was always like, I get it. Totally fine. Like, do whatever you want to do. But he was always like, I am more than happy with you moving in. So when I moved to that little house at the beginning of June, I was always here already. So like I hadn't stayed there. My dad came, I let them stay there and they were like, have you ever even slept here? And I'm not sure I had. And it kind of just happened. Like it was the middle of June and I was like, I need to reach out to the man and tell him that I'm moving out because I'm paying them $2,000 a month. I'd given them $6,000 up front because I was like, I just wanted to pay them and get it done with. And so I texted the man. I was like, hey, just so you know, I did find an apartment for early July or I'm moving in with my boyfriend, yada, yada. Totally keep the money. I just want to let you know that way you can rent this space out to other people. I'm so sorry that this was like in and out. Like I didn't plan for this to happen because I told that man I was potentially moving out of Dallas. I thought I would be moving to Nashville at some point. And then obviously that got turned up on its head. And so the man gave me my money back. And then it was like the end of June that technically ended. So I just slowly brought my stuff over here. But in total, I spent like maybe 5 nights at that place. But it was just like every time I saw him, it was a conversation and it just made sense. And I talked to Nanny Fam and like, I got another question. What did you think about, or like, how did you deal with other people's opinions of you moving in so quickly? And I don't know if they meant people online. Here's the thing. I don't give one tit about the opinions of people online because none of these people, anybody that's like judging me, they are all coming from their own headspace and projecting onto me. So like that doesn't bother me. Everybody in my life, they had met Carter. They knew us. Like everybody knew that this was so different and everybody in my life loves Carter and everybody in Carter's life loves me. So it was so easy and it just made sense. Like nobody in my real immediate life, the people that I actually care about were like, whoa, you know? And at the end of the day, my thoughts are, no, I hadn't lived with a partner before, but if it ends, I can move out on my own. I make my own money. I have money. Like you may as well give it a shot. And we felt so strongly and obviously we're still here. So that was that. But I think just always having the conversations, that's how it was for us. How do y'all balance his school stress with time for each other, being intentional? Well, can I tell you a quick little story? This morning, did I already say this? I got home from the vet and Carter gave me a kiss and he said, I'm going to shower, and I started crying because this past week I've had shit sleep and I haven't seen him because he's been so stressed and he gets so one-track minded. But prior to finals, like Carter's really good about getting his shit done. We also then do like designated no phone time. Like whether we're watching TV or playing games, we love to do board games or make dinner. Like when we're together, we try and be very in the moment because my love language is quality time. Like I need you here with me, not distracted. And honestly, it's way better to be all in at one place. Like if Carter needs to study all day, I get it. He's like zoned in, but then when he's with me, he's with me. So really, like, again, this goes down to, or it comes down to communication as well. Like when I'm feeling like I haven't seen him in a while or I haven't gotten a lot from him and I'm just being needy, like I'll say that. I'm like, I might be being needy. Like, I just feel like you've been really busy, which do what you got to do. But I would love to like, whatever. Tomorrow, for example, we're going to go like recreate our picnic and celebrate our 1 year before his finals really kick off. So we're just going to do that. Like we schedule out the time. And Carter's really good about it in general. Like, he is really the one who leads this relationship and makes sure that we're good. But Carter's just really good about getting his shit done. And then we spend the evenings together. It's kind of like he has a 9 to 5, like just during the day, he's all in. So then I can focus on my stuff as well. But then at night, like, it's just like anything. We can spend the night together and just be in the moment. And that's that. How did you know he was a good guy? I just knew. He did what he said he was going to do. He was honest. He's always upfront. He communicates. He's honest to his own fault. Like, he's always quick to pick out, like, or point out when he's in the wrong. He's just amazing. That was never a question. How does Carter feel about all of your amazing advice and real talk videos to all of us out here? Carter's never seen one of my videos, not once. But he supports me, and that's all I can ask for. Okay, what are y'all's future plans? Staying in Dallas, moving after the bar? Carter already has a job lined up after the bar. So yeah, we'll be in Dallas for probably the next decade just because of his job. And once you network and start a career in a location, we'll just be here. Eventually I could see us moving, but I don't even know, like, we might not. So yeah, we'll be in Dallas for the near future, but hopefully we'll get to travel and go places. But yeah, so that's that. Have you guys ever had any issues in your relationship? How do you deal with them? And I also got, what's been the most challenging thing during y'all's relationship? And have Carter and I in our relationship had issues? No. Like, we have had external things put on us that we've had to deal with, some family issues, some other things. And Carter is just such I am his priority. Our family, our kids, like, he thinks about us as a unit, and like, he is no longer a part of course he's a part of his family, but like, when it comes down to things, like, we make a decision, or we make our decisions together for us. And so any issues that have been external, like, we just come together and we communicate. And yesterday there was an issue that we had, or not that we had, I had been in my head about a situation, and I express that to him, and he's always like, Brenna, I will do what I need to do. I will take care of what I need to take care of. You are my priority. Our future is the most important thing to me, and that's that. And so we have never argued. Like, Carter is so not that guy. Carter, no matter what, even if I am being absolutely insane, you guys, I'm sorry that the video got so dark. I'll fix that in a second. But even if I was being the most irrational, illogical person, Carter is like, nope, I understand where you're coming from. Totally, babe. Like, he always just reaffirms me, and then we talk about it, and then he asks me what he can do to help. Like, that's it. And Carter never has issues. Carter's never ever gotten mad at me. He's never been upset with me. It's funny because with his family, Carter doesn't have a lot of patience for people in general. He's just very much like efficient, dun, 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 dun. Like, that's just who he is. But with me, he has the most patience in the world, and his family has pointed it out to me a million times. His parents are like, he is so delicate with you. And not that I'm ever like provoking bad things or like trying to do anything to like mess with him, but they're like, we've never seen him care so deeply about somebody and like make sure that you're okay. And they're like, it is the craziest thing. So that is just who Carter is. So no, we really haven't had issues because, and I'm this way, but Carter is such a lead where he's like, it's us against the problem. And I know that's such a cliche, but until you're in it, like, it is the most magical thing, because never once have I doubted that Carter would leave, that this relationship is not good, that Carter wasn't in this till death. Like, he has made it abundantly clear. And whenever he's stressed about work or school, and like, in a past relationship, I would probably project that onto myself. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Da-da-da. I've never felt that, because I know that he would never, if he, number one, ever had an issue with me, which he hasn't, he would bring it up. But number two, it never has anything to do with me. Like, Carter has committed to me just like I have to him. So it's us, and that's it. And I cannot express how important and how life-changing that is, because no, like, of course, have we probably had little bicker moments? Carter calls me Scary Spice. The Spice Girls all have nicknames. And when I'm like being a little bit like snarky, he calls me Spicy. he says that I'm being spicy. So we looked up the names one time. Like David Beckham's wife is Posh Spice. I'm like, what are the other names? So we went through them. There's Sporty Spice. He was like, and then there's Scary Spice. Like whenever I'm on edge and I'm being like snappy, because obviously he's like, okay, Scary Spice, like calm down. And we just joke about it. But like nothing crazy has ever happened between us. No like big arguments. Where do you want to get married? Nowhere. I want to get married at the courthouse. I want to sign a piece of paper and I want it to be done. Me and Carter will elope. We'll probably just do one of those like city hall things. Just get it done. Neither of us wants a wedding. So that's that. Okay. How do you guys deal with finances? Do you both believe in 50-50? So right now we split everything except not really. Rent, we split 50-50, and then like groceries and random things, like whoever's getting them is getting them. Like Carter always tries to find the receipts because I end up running the errands now, and he'll try and like pay me half, but I'm not going to nickel and dime him. And here's the thing. We are firm believers that when we get married, we'll just have a joint account. Like we are not going to have separate accounts. It's just going to be all of our money. So right now, like I know that once he starts making money and we get married, like immediately we're going to join our finances. So I'm not like trying to nickel and dime because I already view our money as our money. Like when I'm paying for something or when he's like, we just don't do that game. At the beginning, it was still that way. Maybe we were better about like the groceries, but even still, like neither of us are that like stickler about it, and that's what works for us. But like if you guys are in a different position where you have a fixed income in that, like do what works best for you, but that's what we do. And somebody else asked me all love, but how do you afford things with him at school and you as stay-at-home girlfriend? Which the stay-at-home girlfriend's half a joke. I do make money on social media, so I do have an income, and I also have a ton of savings from previous jobs. And then same for Carter, like he's had jobs before, he works last summer, so he has savings. So we're both like living off of I have an income, but you know, he's living off of his savings, but he's also starting his job soon. So that's how we afford things. But we both are pretty financially savvy, so we're good. Do you feel like y'all rushed into things? No, never. Like it all felt natural, which on the outside looking in, it probably seemed crazy. And to myself, it seemed crazy. I'm like, this is so unlike me. I'm so logical. I would never do this so soon, yada, yada. But like we had so many conversations and it was natural and it just worked for us. Do I recommend our timeline moving in after a month or two? No. Do I think that's like the normal thing? Absolutely not. And I also think like age is a factor, and just like where you are at in your life and how serious you are about a person. But that's what worked for us. And no, it never felt rushed. Do you ever slip and call him Carter to his face? Never, except one time, you guys. And I kind of was talking in the third person. So that mirror I have on our wall in the living room above the bookshelf, when I first hung it, I hung it up too high, and I was documenting it on TikTok or Instagram. And I was like, wait, you guys, is this too high? Like Carter's pretty tall, so maybe it'll be good for him and whatever. And right after I got done filming, he walked in and I was like, can you look at this, babe? Like I was thinking that like Carter's tall and yada, yada. And I was speaking of like, as I was explaining the TikTok, and he was like, bitch, Carter, what? But I didn't say it to him. I was like talking about it. Does that make sense? He was like, oh my God. But that's the only time it's ever happened. Because number one, we call each other Tootsie pretty much. Like I never use Carter's real name. And I will say, you guys, like as authentic and genuine as I am on camera, I am also turning it on for you guys. So it's kind of like a character. So I just know whenever I'm filming myself, it's Carter. Like, I don't know, it's this weird thing. And unless you do social media and like kind of, it just started that way. It just became so natural. But in my real life, like I'm not in that mode. So no, but I also think it has a lot to do with the fact that I never really called him his first name. We did Toots and Tootsie pretty soon or pretty early on. And anytime I use his real name, he's like, ew, don't ever call me that. Like, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm Tootsie. So no, the one time, but it was kind of like in third person. Okay, my girl, you know who you are. Are we going to be seeing a ring anytime soon? I just made a TikTok video about this the other day. No, I think at the end of the year when Carter starts making money, because right now, like we're paying the bills, we're doing the thing until he gets done with the bar and starts working. So he just doesn't have money for a ring right now. So I would guess holiday season, end of the year, early next year, if I had to guess. Trust though, if he could have proposed months ago, he would have, like, no doubt. Well, he said it a million times. Like, there is no reason that we haven't other than the ring. So that's that. But I kind of love that because a lot of people were judging me online. Oh my God. Do you remember the love bombing? Everybody was trying to convince me that Carter was love bombing me. And I want to so badly call them out and be like, now what is it? Is it just like loving? Like what? You guys, like, what was the thought process there? Like, to be able to say, I told you so if we broke up? Sorry. Okay, anyways, that was a little era. I'm getting a little scary spice right now. But yeah, I bet that's shocking. There were a lot of people online that had so much to say in my comment section. Like, oh my gosh, she just wants to get the ring and da-da-da-da-da. I'm still here a year later. I bet you guys are surprised. None of my haters are probably here listening right now. Well, you'd be surprised because they are the most dedicated. But yeah. Sorry, little side tangent. I've been feeling a little spicy recently. I'm on my period as well. I don't know if I said that. So I'm just kind of all over the place. Anyways, okay, a few more questions. What feels different about Carter than past partners? Everything. The biggest thing is that I told you, I feel like my previous partners molded themselves to me. And I also feel like my past relationships, even though my most recent, I was still like 24, I feel like they were still juvenile. Like I feel like we weren't being able to make decisions outside of his parents, not mine, because I'm independent. And so like it just didn't feel like a real adult relationship. Whereas with Carter, like we make our decisions ourselves and that's it. Like our parents don't play a factor and it feels like a real adult life relationship. And yeah, Carter's just so amazing and so different than any guy I've ever met. He's so smart. He's so caring. He's so thoughtful. He's so just, I just love him to death. He's just the perfect partner for me. And yeah, so everything is different about Carter. What's the biggest lesson you've learned during the 1 year together? The biggest lesson, I don't know about a lesson, but I just like am so looking forward to the future. Like never have I dated a man and I'm like, I want to have kids or like, I'm excited to get married. I was always like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. With Carter, I just cannot wait for all of the things with him. And I know that's so cheesy, but like just knowing that he's my person and he's going to be here forever, it just gives you a level of peace and sanctity. And like, I just feel so good about all the decisions I make in my personal life, with my career, with his things, like everything is a decision amongst us. And I just love that. Okay. And the last question, you guys, sorry, I'm kind of like, holy shit, I can't wait to go to sleep tonight. But what are the things that you do for Carter to make him feel loved and vice versa? I think it's all the little things. Like at night, Carter's always kind of a hot mess. Like he showers, he's got the podcast going, he's doing all the things. So I always grab like his water and make sure he has his cold water and make sure that whatever he needs is here. And like I do all of the groceries and the laundry and like I maintain everything around the house so he can get his schoolwork done. And Carter, he does everything for me. Just having him and him being such a good partner is all I could ever ask from him. And he always pays for like dinners and things when we go out and he cooks us dinner. I don't know. Honestly, I don't need gifts. I don't need all of those things. I just need somebody to talk to at the end of the day that gets me, that I can be my full authentic self with, and that is Carter. And we are just so on the same wavelength. There was actually another question. Sorry, I said that was the last one, but somebody asked, what advice do you have for making a romantic relationship genuine and meaningful? I would say keeping it just the two of you. Spending time, quality time, not on your phones, not on the TV. It's an easy habit to fall into. And me and Carter do at times. And then we're both like, okay, we need to put the phones aside. We need to have a conversation. We need to look at each other and like really listen. And it's just being like intentional. It's so easy to slip in the mundane things and like habits of life and just coexisting. But it's like planning the date nights and Carter grabbing me flowers on his way home, or like he'll go to the grocery store or he'll fill gas and he grabs me a Diet Coke. Oh my God, he does that all the time. or he'll go to his friend's house and on his way, he brings back a little snack and like just those little things. But I think spending time together, not allowing other people to be in your relationship and just being all in. Is that so dumb? Yeah, kind of, but it's true. Like this relationship is so different because it's like so real and we both talk about the future so much and we think about and make decisions based on our kids and our family and our house that aren't even here yet, being married. And that is the best feeling. And I don't know if I answered that question very well, but you guys, I'm kind of a hot mess right now. That is all I have. That is me and Carter. Happy 1 year and happy 1 year to us. I feel like a lot of you popped in around that time and maybe you weren't here, which is okay too. Go watch the playlist. And also I started posting my Tuesday Instagrams right when me and Carter started dating because I was documenting then. So also happy 1 year to that. But thank you guys for listening. I hope this was good. I wish I would have been in a better headspace, but our little turkey butt is sitting here sleeping. She hasn't gone potty in 5 hours, which is... So hopefully she'll be feeling better. But you guys, thank you for being here. I'm sure there will be plenty of other videos like this and I can answer more questions like how do I find a Carter? That's a video I need to make. Or like what were the green flags and red flags? But that's a little bit different realm. I kind of just wanted to talk about us and our experience and share with you. And I love you and thank you for being here. I will see you guys next week. Okay, bye guys.